Most of us think getting a job is pretty straightforward. You have the right skills, you get the job. But what if I told you that's only about, say, 20% of the whole picture? Ex-recruiters are saying that the candidates who really truly stand out aren't just the most qualified on paper, they're the ones who get the psychology of it all.
We've all been there, right? You're looking at a job description, ticking off the boxes in your head, thinking, hey, I'm a perfect match. We just assume that hiring is this logical, rational process. But is it? Really? Does the person with the most keywords stuffed into their resume always get the offer? The reality is, well, it's a lot messier and a whole lot more human than that. And here it is. This is the number that just changes the whole game. After analyzing thousands of interviews, some insiders estimate that a whopping 80% of any hiring decision comes down to pure psychology. It's about how you make the interviewer feel. It's emotional, it's gut level, and once you really get that, you can totally change how you approach your entire job search. Okay, so how do we actually use this to our advantage? Well, it all starts right at the very beginning. In this first part, we're going to break down how you can master those critical first moments and shape a really powerful first impression. So the first principle is something called cognitive ease. Basically, our brains are wired to be a little lazy. They prefer the path of least resistance. We naturally gravitate toward things and people that are simple and just easy to understand. In the world of hiring, this means that recruiters and managers will subconsciously lean towards candidates who are just, well, easier to deal with. And here's what that looks like in the real world. You've got the candidate on the left who creates what's called cognitive strain. Their resume is a mess, their answers wander all over the place. But the candidate on the right, they create cognitive ease. Their LinkedIn headline tells you exactly who they are, their answers are sharp and to the point. The takeaway here is super simple. Don't make the interviewer work hard to figure you out. Be the easy choice. Now, once you've created that sense of ease, something really cool starts to happen. It's called the halo effect. This is a mental shortcut where if someone likes one thing about you, their brain just starts to assume they'll like everything else about you too. It's a huge shortcut our minds take, and you can totally make it work for you. This quote from an ex-recruiter named Lucy just nails it. A strong first impression, clear communication, a bit of confidence, a polished resume, it creates this halo. Suddenly, the interviewer's filling in all the blanks with positive assumptions. That one good first impression does half the work for you before you even get to the really tough questions. All right, so you've made a killer first impression, but an interview is so much more than just the first 5 minutes, right? So in part 2, let's dive into how you build on that initial spark and create a real, genuine human connection. This right here is the simple, unspoken truth of pretty much every single hiring process. Look, we can talk about skills and qualifications all day long, but so often, the final decision just comes down to a gut feeling. We spend a third of our lives at work. People want to hire colleagues they actually like and can picture themselves grabbing coffee with or collaborating on a tough project. And here's the line you really want to remember. Your skills get you in the door. They get you noticed, but it's your likability, your ability to connect, to show you're someone who can get along with the team, that so often seals the deal and gets you hired. And this isn't about being fake. It's just about being someone who isn't going to create drama. And this is where that likability gets supercharged by something called authority bias. We are all just hardwired to trust people who project authority. And notice that key word there, perceived expert. It's not always about who knows the most. It's about who presents what they know with confidence and clarity. So how do you actually project that authority? Well, it comes down to 3 simple steps. First, clarity. No rambling, give direct, confident answers. Second, structure. Use a simple framework like STAR, that's situation, task, action, and result to tell a great story. And third, ownership. Use the word I, not just we. Taking credit for what you did isn't being arrogant, it's taking command of your own story. Okay, you've made a fantastic impression, you've built a real connection, now for the final phase. Part 3 is all about sealing the deal, about how you can actively guide that interviewer toward a yes. This principle is such a huge piece of the puzzle. It's called confirmation bias, and it means that once we form an opinion about something, our brain subconsciously starts looking for evidence to prove ourselves right. And in an interview, that initial opinion is formed unbelievably fast. Just let that sink in for a second. The decision is often made in the first minute and a half. The entire rest of the interview is just them looking for reasons to justify that first impression. This is exactly why your cognitive ease and that halo effect are so critical. You have to give them a positive belief to confirm right from the jump. All right, our final principle is an incredibly powerful tool for turning a great interview into an actual offer. It's the commitment principle. See, once someone verbally commits to doing something, their brain really wants to stay consistent with that. And you can use this to get clarity and stay in control of the entire process. Here's exactly how you do it. It's a technique called the commitment lock. At the end of the interview, you ask 3 simple things. 1, so what are the next steps in the process? 2, and when should I roughly expect to hear an update? And then 3, this is the lock. Perfect. And if I don't hear anything by then, is it okay if I send a polite follow-up? That simple script gets them to verbally commit to a timeline and gives you total permission to check in, which removes all that awful guesswork. And that's it. 6 really powerful psychological principles that can give you a serious edge. So let's do a quick recap and put them all together into your own personal playbook for your next interview. Just remember, cognitive ease is all about being clear and simple. The halo effect lets one good thing about you create all these other positive assumptions. Likability means being someone they'd actually enjoy working with. Authority bias is about projecting expertise. Confirmation bias means you got to win them over early. And finally, the commitment principle is all about locking in those next steps so you stay in control.
Understanding these principles is one thing, but actually putting them into practice is a whole different ballgame. This isn't about being manipulative, not at all. It's about understanding human nature and presenting the absolute best version of yourself in a way that really connects. So, looking at this playbook, the real question is, which one of these principles are you going to focus on mastering first to go out and land that next great opportunity?